Gardening is your passion, digging in the soil is your pleasure, and growing your own food is your mission. We've got a lot in common. Get access to the greatest gardening minds, including yours truly, with The Gardener magazine, filled with the latest gardening trends, inspirational ideas and tips. Available from leading retailers or online at thegardener.co.za. From cover to cover, it's gardening at its best.
The Gardener Masterclass is proudly brought to you by Starke Ayres, the foremost African commercial and home gardening specialists of globally sold premium seed and innovative gardening solutions, growing together for a sustainable future. And Makhro Home and Garden. Visit makhro.co.za to find out more about our range to solve most common gardening problems. makhro.co.za.
Good morning, everybody. It's 11 o'clock on a Thursday, and we have a date. I see there are loads of you on YouTube. There seems to be a bit of something going on YouTube. But guys, please just remember, if you want to comment, you've got to comment on The Gardener, not on Tanya Visser, on The Gardener's Facebook or YouTube platform. Okay, very, very important, so that we can then read and get your comments. So keep sending them through. I see there are loads of you online already. My glasses are not so good. I can't see that far. It's beyond 2 meters. It could be a tiger for all I know. Anyway, guys, it's great to have you along with us. Today we're dealing with a subject that can literally make you pull your hair out. And I know this because when we moved into this property, and I'm grateful for the previous owners, because she loved trees and she planted so many trees, like so many. And then we end up with the dilemma of, well, what do we grow underneath them? How do we do it? How do we get it right? And we've all learned, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, what can grow, what can't grow, and a couple of tricks that I'm going to share with you today on how you can really get your garden to look equally as amazing in the shade, under trees, or in the sun. And you know what, guys, please, it doesn't have to only be deities. You know deities. Yeah, come work with me now. You know that indigenous lily. I think it's called the rain lily. Whenever there's going to be rain, it opens, it flowers. It's beautiful, it's precious, it's gorgeous. But guys, leave that for the car parks in Sandton, hey? Or in KwaZulu-Natal, because the landscapers, they love that plant. And they'll tell you must plant it all over your garden. But folks, there's so much more out there. There is so much more. And yes, I'm dissing. Yeah, I'm dissing deities. I'm bouncing it and giving it a kick out the park, because there are so many other most amazing plants. So yeah, so work with me here. Don't log off now because I've dissed deities. Dissed deities. Anyway, folks, for those of you around the country, it's been wicked. It's been flooding. It's Ochrabis. Actually, I don't even know where the deck is, where the viewing deck is anymore. I was seeing various videos being posted. I mean, the next thing, that deck, and I visited there once, was like, the waterfall was like over there. You need binoculars. Just like right over it. Nelspruit, the rivers there, unbelievable. We dodged bullets a few weeks ago when we were there, like bullets. I mean, God just said, okay, off you go. No, we were meant to turn right. And we said, let's go left. And we went left. And by going left, when we arrived at our destination, the people were like, how did you get here? How did you make it? Like the car, our little whatever it was, hire car, actually like didn't hardly had any mud on it. Like there's been washaways and bridges gone. And I'm like, wow, no. Anyway, when your gut says turn left, don't turn right. Okay. But folks, there has been, from extreme heat to extreme rain, our gardens are really taking its toll. And what this does for me, although there's all those negative things, remember, we always err on the side of positivity. We have to, or else the world becomes very dark. And yes, a lot of my plants have taken a beating. Yeah, they have been beaten. But what it does show me, and this is the lesson that I love, is that what plants are tough. Like, what plants in my garden are good little absolute tigers? Which are those that are going to go on through hot and cold and extreme heat waves and 7 days of pelting rain? And those are the plants that we should be having in our garden. More of those. So I've kind of identified a few that are going to end up on the compost heap in the sky, because that's the way it goes. We weed out the weak ones and we keep those in our gardens that are going to give us maximum impact and cope with this dynamic weather patterns world that we're living in. But let's first go and say good morning to everybody. Guys, okay, let's turn this machine on. Oh, look, it just turned on itself. Hallelujah. Renata, good morning. Wat sê jy? Ek sit op kantoor en sit met oorfone in en kyk jou show. Ek steel die skaduwee van die bure se bome en kyk die deel vanaf die middagson. Baie klip wat ek moes verwyder en het maar fetties geplant. Well done, you see. You see, so you can even steal from the neighbor. Okay. Good morning, Jermaine. Wild Ayres is dan, hulle wilde irisse is dan so mooi. Wat raai jy aan? What do I recommend? Nee, wag. Jermaine, I got it. We've got lots of plants for you. You see all these beautiful things behind you? We're going to be going through them just now. So just hang tight, have your pen and paper ready. But remember, you can always rewind when this is finished and you can watch it again and push pause. Ella, good morning. From Makhro Home and Garden, goeiemôre. Patsy's here. Patsy from Durban. Natalie, good morning. Hopefully we can stay logged on with load shedding. Ay, caramba. I got another word for load shedding. The first part is load. The second part also begins with shh. But I can't say it on this platform. But anyway, that's what we call it in our house. Bugs and Beasties, good morning. Hey, cool profile. Bugs and Beasties. Tanya, good morning. Good to have you with us. Fawny, good morning. Mine Fawny. Ma. I don't know how to say that. Okay, anyway, moving along. Camilla, good morning. Cam, good to have you with us. Terry, good morning. Melissa, good morning, guys. Kathy's with us. Tian, môre Sian, hoe gaan dit? God, you see this boy's profile pic. He's a dish. Okay, don't go stalk him now. Jammer, Tian. But I just had to share, you know. Zelda, good morning from Port Elizabeth or Kwageba. I think Kwagera. Lost that. Kwageba. Yeah, okay, anyway. Beverly, good morning from Joburg. Melanie, good morning from a hot Pretoria. We've got Doorntracht, Hanneke from the Eastern Cape. There we go. Cullen, good morning. Amorel, good morning. Lauren, sewing whilst I'm inspired by your joyful floral passion. Oh, good morning, Lauren. Guys, loads of you on here this morning, so it's great to have you with us. Let's get straight into it. So, to get your juices flowing. Oh, wait, before we go any further. Well, announcement. Many of you entered the competition for our grand February issue to enter the competition, which You had to find Dora. Remember Dora, the garden gnome? You had to find her, and then you had to tell us which page she was on. Guys, and so many of you entered, and so many of you got it right. And just to let you know that keep an eye out on our social media pages, because we'll be announcing the winner live in about a week's time. We're busy sifting through some incorrect answers. It was Dora, guys. You just had to find Dora. She was hidden. She was so well hidden. But anyway, so guys, just to get your juices flowing, we are talking today about shade. And I want to show you, I've got a quick few inspirational slides that I really just want to share with you to show what can be possible. So if you currently are sitting, you're working from home, you're sitting in your office, you're looking out the window, there's a big tree and there's dirt underneath it. Dry patch. There's a plant that's hanging on there that's also attached to an oxygen machine. It's like, I don't know if I can. There's some grass that looks manky. It's been eaten. It looks awful. It's patchy. If you're looking at that, if you're looking at the side of your house where the eaves come down and there's nothing growing there, or what you did plant it is just sticks. Guys, this is what I want you to focus on the inspiration that we're about to give you, because there is a solution for all of it. So let's kick to it. This is the stuff that makes us excited. Okay. What are we doing? Do we have a... Oh, I need to start it. Oh, you know, these tech people, I've got 6 of them surrounding me. How many here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 surrounding me, and they're telling me I must start my own presentation. They know how bad I am at this stuff, that I break computers. And if my poor computer man Keith had to ever listen to me, you know, whenever I phone Keith, my computer man, the way he answers is, what must I do? Oh, I'm up, right. When my computer man, when he answers the phone, it's not, hi Tanya, how are you? It's like, what have you broken? True story. Okay, let's go. Warwick, let's hit it. Guys, this over here, take a look. And this is under deep shade. Deep shade. I'm just going to get my fancy little pointer so that I can go through some plants. So can you see this little red dot? Please tell me you can see it. And if I do it very fast, you can't see it. Yes. So this is under a big Acer in our front garden. And really there's some plants in here that do exceptionally well. The grey plant in the front is something that I want you to keep your eyes on. It's not available yet in South Africa, but don't stress. She are coming soon. But as an alternative, you could always use lamb's ears, which copes in semi-shade. Now, the reason why plants are coping in this position is because we have feathered the tree. Okay, so a deep tree, a heavy, thick tree, all we've done is we've gone in and we've removed some alternate branches to allow a bit more light in. Importantly, it's all about the soil, but we're going to get to that a bit later. But let's talk quickly about the plants. Here we have got Carex Everillo. Guys, that plant is like, it is one hot bod, okay? It can grow in the full sun, it can grow in the semi-shade. We started off, and I shouldn't be telling you this, or the plant grows. We started off with 5. I bought 5 of this plant, and it's just grown, and we've just divided and moved it to all different sections of the garden. Remember, any bright colors, just draw your eye into it. All it gets is a haircut once every 2nd year. Literally just a haircut with a sharp pair of secateurs or a pruner, just one of those hedge clippers. That's all it gets. But this is Everillo. Oh man, she is so gorgeous, and it's also soft. She's got this gentleness about her. It's a beautiful plant. Behind it, striking, contrasting colors of the Coleus, and we're going to go into more detail about the Coleus. Now, of course, if you live in an area where you're going to get frosts this winter, you're going to need to protect the Coleus. So the Coleus, they will start naturally dying down as soon as the temperatures start dropping. They'll get a bit flimsy and look a bit Okay, so then you're going to let them die down, and then you're going to cover them with some frost protection. And they will come away again in the summer months. In the subtropical areas, they can go right throughout the year. Behind it, we've got some Anthuriums, of course, which are stalwarts for shade gardening. Absolute stalwarts. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. I think I've got to press this down arrow. There we go. Coming up, thinking about your winter gardening, guys. And I want you to start thinking about this now. Instead of planting something now, because your foxies, it's too early to plant. So if you have got a patch, just put a sign up that's going to make you feel better that says garden under construction. Okay, so when you do go there, you remind yourself that actually something is going to happen there. But remind yourself that you still got to plant something there. And I have to do that to myself because I get so impatient that I want to put something in. But I have to remind myself that I've got to wait until the end of April to be able to put my foxies in. And of course, your foxies love the shade. In your colder areas where you get frost, guys, you are so blessed. The foxies just pop up like weeds in your garden. I've got a friend in Underberg. He says, "What do you mean you buy foxgloves?" I said, "I spend a fortune on them every year." He says, "Oh, mine just pop up in my garden." And you know, him and I have a very interesting relationship. He's actually a farmer, but he's a great gardener. He's called Sean the Farmer. And I go to his garden and I dig out his foxgloves. But yeah, so if you're blessed and you live in the cooler climates, guys, you're A for away. All right, now look at this. Man. Probably about as common as dietes is this Plectranthus in the front. This is one of your ground cover Plectranthus. It's called Plectranthus neochilus. It can also be, sometimes people get the names mixed up. It can also be, what's its other, sometimes they're blue, purple, whatever you want to call it. That is Plectranthus Mona lavender. That is a bush. It's a small shrub, 40 centimeters. It is not creeping like the previous Plectranthus that I just showed you. Behind it, the cast iron plant. Man, guys, that cast iron plant will never, ever die, whether it's dry or even exceptionally wet. Incredibly good plant. Okay, of course, your bromeliads, subtropical areas. And in the colder areas, you can certainly have them there in summer. I'm going to give you a quick tip. What you do is, with your bromeliads, is this. So, keep them in pots, guys. Okay? Keep them in pots. And then when you want to put them in the garden during your summer months, or when you're in the frost-free, you just dig a hole and you bury the pot. Okay, so you just bury the pot. Then, as soon as the cooler months come along, you just lift it out the garden and put it into its protected spot, and Bob's your uncle. Yeah, well, nice and easy. We can all do that. Anthuriums, guys, we all get given anthuriums or we buy them as house plants. Remember, when it's finished being in the garden or in the home, in your home, giving you that beautiful color for 6 to 8 weeks on time, you can then take that and you can plant it into the garden. Okay. Beautiful inspiration here. Tall tree ferns at the back. That's the Australian tree fern that just gives you that height in no time at all. Giant, absolute giant bromeliad. And then we've got another grass in the front, and I want you to pay attention to this grass because I'm going to share it with you a little bit later, who this guy is. Okay. Oh, man, come on. Look at those colors. So for those of you living where it gets cold, you have a good enough reason now to be able to plant these tropical beauties. Clivias, of course, are the bomb. And remember, if it's growing under a tree, generally it also is more protected. So even if you're dropping to 1-2 degrees during the winter, they will still be able to grow there. Calatheas, which are generally only found as an indoor houseplant, can be taken and planted in the shade. Of course, we've got bird's nest ferns, all sorts of different types. Look at this lovely combination under the tall trees. Plectranthus in the foreground, and then we've got lovely tall tree ferns in the back. For larger vistas, and note here on these trees, guys, note here on the trees, that all of these lower branches have been removed. And that's what I really encourage you to do, or else you won't get these vistas. Do you see that vista where you can see right through there? Just lift the tree, remove some of these lower branches, and all of a sudden, you've got a whole lot more place to garden. And there, never make a pathway straight. Never, ever, ever. You want your pathways to be a little bit curved. And I'm going to show you perfectly in the next one. A little bit curved. Where is it disappearing to around the corner? Because that makes us, you know, Afrikaans is a beautiful word. Hulle sê jy's nuuskierig. It makes you, I don't even know what the English word is. Curious. It makes you nuuskierig. You want to see what's around the corner. What's waiting for me? The foreground is a variegated Plectranthus, guys. An absolute winner. A winner for shaded areas. And then, of course, a beautiful bench just to relax in. Think about other materials that you can use in a shaded spot, whether it just be a bit of slate, a bit of paving, some gravel, and combine those against the beautiful soft textures. Here again, curved pathway, nice and simple. Oh, come on, don't you want to walk down there? I want to walk down there. And those are some of the aspects that we can use. And I'm flipping through these really, really quickly because I want you to see the shapes and I want you to play on and look at the textures. They're strap-like leaves being used against larger, bolder leaves. I mean, isn't that? That's in the shade. And the grass that is being used, guys, you can pick that up at your local garden center in a box, okay? It's specially developed seed for shaded areas. Give me a box there, please, Megs. There's a box on the table there. Yes, bring that to me, please. Right. This shady mix, guys. It's really simple. If you cannot grow your grass you're failing miserably. Okay, just get some of this. And we have got it planted under the trees. We've got it in difficult areas around the garden, and it does the job. And believe it or not, all the instructions are on the back. So I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense that I can't grow anything. And then now that you've lifted the trees, you've planted the garden, you might have a bit of a gap between the foliage and the canopy or the lower canopy of your trees. Try something playful. Just playful, you know? Old bird cages, old buckets. There's always something that we can use. And of course, I had to put this on. The list of my plants I still want to buy. It's like one of those very big dot matrix printed things that used to spew out. And when you press the wrong button, when I was doing stock take, and it would spew out everything, because I broke the computer, of course. That is what life is about. We've got so many more plants to buy. Okay, guys, so your juices are going. Let's get back to see where your comments are, if I can possibly do that on this computer of mine. Right, there we go. Hold on. Stay on the line, caller. Oh, right. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, I've done something here. Okay. Oh, look at that. I think I broke it. No, okay, it's semi. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Guys, next I want to talk to you about soil. Because soil is our biggest challenge. It's soil and shade. I've told you about how to deal with the shade. You're going to trim. You're going to lift your canopies and you're going to feather your trees. Now, soil trouble. The biggest challenge in gardening in the shade is dryness, is just being dry. That is your biggest issue because the roots of the trees suck up all the moisture. They take it away faster than you can water. And that is one of our biggest issues. It's the tree roots, the fine fibrous roots, and you will know this. You will know this how? Because when you try and dig and plant underneath there, well, guys, that spade comes back and hits you on the head because it bounces off those roots. And it's those fibrous roots that remove so much of the moisture. So how do we deal with it? How do we deal with that? There are a couple of ways, but if you have an existing garden, so it's planted, you've got an existing shaded area, would you like to take this computer and try and fix it for me, please? Because I think I did something horrible to it. Guys, so let's say that you've got an existing area you've planted your garden, but it's really just not doing so well. It's drying out, the plants aren't doing so well, and I want to consider this. Also, think about if you've got a dry area in the garden where you keep on watering, and you water, and like you go back 10 minutes later and it's dry, or the water just runs off. In gardening, we call that an oily soil. Okay, we call that an oily soil. And what is oily soil? Well, oily soil basically it's basically what we call a hydrophobic. Okay, so hydrophobic, you've got a phobia, which means that you're scared of it. So the hydrophobic soil means that there's too much surface tension on the dry soil. Okay, so dry soil. Those of you that live right on the coast that are gardening in sea sand, because literally you are gardening in sea sand, hydrophobic soil tends to have very little organic matter in it. Plus the other thing is that it creates this tension, so when you water, the water literally just runs off, like water on a duck's back, as we say. So and actually, I know these guys who brought this out. They were in America, and they were dealing with and looking for solutions on, especially on golf courses, because golf courses suck up huge amounts of water. And it's not like, well, okay, this last week, 2 weeks, we've got enough water, but we go into times when there's very little. Especially, and I've got a patch just in front of my potting shed, which dries out all the time. And we need solutions. I don't want to go and lift up the lawn now. I want to fix it while it's growing. So if you've got an area like what I'm busy talking about, then this is what I want you to use. This stuff is called Waterwise 3D. What it does is it removes the surface tension. Okay, so when you apply it, what it does is it removes the surface tension from in amongst these little soil particles, and what it's able to do is then allow the water to penetrate. What it also does at this point is a whole lot of other things. So the water is going in. Now I want to show you here. Look here. This is water. You got to come in here close, Mace. This is water that I put in here last night. Look at the water just sitting on the surface here. Do you see that? Okay. This I treated with Waterwise 3D. Same amount of water. It's all gone in. So it means you're going to use less water. The water is going to go to the root zone of the plants, okay, which is important, which means if you're fertilizing, if you're watering, you're going to be saving on all of those. Yes, it's not going to run off, and it's going to go right to the root zone. But I want to show you how this works. We did this experiment a few years ago, guys, and it's absolutely fascinating. It blew my mind, because when I did the experiment for the first time, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. What is this hocus pocus nonsense? The good thing is that with the Waterwise 3D, it's not harmful to plants, not to dogs, not to humans, not to insects, not to earthworms. It's biodegradable, which means that you do need to keep on applying it, but it's once every 3 months or so, and it can be applied via a watering can, via a tank system. So it really is quite easy. It comes in this bottle over here, all right, and it's a bluish liquid. But I'll show you that now. So for the experiment, guys, okay, I've just got some water here with a syringe. Okay, so I'm going to try and take up the same amount of water. Oh my goodness, my syringe, she does not have, wait, let's use this one here. Let's use this one. I'm going to take the same amount of water so you can see I'm not cheating. Okay, 5 mils. 5 mils, that's right, okay. And I'm just going to put some water around here. I'm going to do this twice, okay? 1, okay, are you watching it there? Are you watching where the water's going down? 2, okay, so this would be like you're busy watering your garden, right? Okay, here we go, there it goes. We're going to do the same on this side, okay? 1, okay, and 2, right. Okay, right, we're in. Can you see? About the same. Can you see how it's trying to filter through? It's trying to find its way. Okay, now we're going to do this. We're going to take some of this beautiful blue stuff, which is 3D Waterwise, okay? And we're now going to add it on. Now, of course, this is not how you do it in the garden, okay? You would dilute it, and you dilute it 200 mils into 10 liters of water. Okay, so now, watch up here. Now I'm going to add some of the Waterwise, and watch what happens immediately. Do you see what's happening? Look where it's going. Look how it's starting to move. Now, as if we were watering normally, Okay, but I want to get some of that out. Oops. Oh, I think I might be in trouble. So now I'm going to add 5 mils into the one that I haven't added this in. Okay, watch what happens. Okay, look how far down it's going. Now I'm going to do this as if we were watering. And I want you to see where it goes. Look at the difference. Look how deeper this one has gone. Look at that compared to this guy. Can you see that? Isn't that insane? You see how it's penetrating and it's going through. That is what we want because we now know that it's going right into the soil. So not only reducing water, reducing the amount of water, I find this experiment the most fascinating though. Same amount of water, look what happened. Here it's sitting there in the soil where it should be. Here it's sitting on top of the soil because of the surface tension. So guys, go out, find yourself some of this and use it because it really is going to save you a lot of water. And not only save you water, but also save you fertilizer and how much compost you're putting in. And remember, the best way to fix your soil, one of the best ways is to use these clever tricks, but also to mulch. Guys, and I'm not going to go on about this anymore because you got a much more mulch. Please add organic content to your soil from your own compost heap, please, because in that way you're improving the soil. Okay, so that is if you've got an existing, or you want to even treat soil before you start planting. Now, the next thing is if we are going to start a new bed. So if you've got those half-dying dead things in there and you need to fix it, and I've got to rush now because I know my time is like ticking, so stay with me, caller. The next thing that you do is if you have an existing tree, okay, and this is a very good trick and it's a good way to deal with it. So come along with me to the whiteboard and I'm going to show you a quick way of how to deal with it. Now, you know, my great-great-great-grandfather was Picasso, and you know he sold those paintings with just a squiggle and earned millions. Well, he was dead by that time, but anyway, I'm really not very good at this. So, okay, so tree. Oh, caramba. Okay, no, let's use this one. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't be cleaning the whiteboard with mineral turpentine. Nah. Okay, let's try this. Okay, tree. Right. We've removed the lower branches. Okay, we've got that. Now we want to garden underneath here. Lots of shade. Okay, throwing shade all this way. Lots and lots of shade. Remember I said to you our biggest challenge is because of the roots. Yes? Biggest challenge. So what you do is this. Okay. What you're going to do is this. If this is where you're going to dig, you are going to dig a big hole. And I mean like a big hole. So you're going to, from there, wherever you want to garden, you're going to go down to about there. However far. You want to dig down deep, at least 40 centimeters. Take this soil, put it somewhere else. Okay, let's pretend you've run around the tree. Here's your soil. Okay, you've put your soil there. Now what you're going to do is you are going to line this with thick black plastic. And guys, I want to show this to you because this is what you're going to use. This is the black plastic that you buy in sheets at your local hardware store. You buy it in rolls, but it must be the thick stuff. So it's not black bin bags, okay? Line it with that, okay? Line it with that, and then you get your fork and you make a few little holes in the base, okay? So we've got a few little holes, obviously, because we don't want this to become a pond. Right, a few little holes for drainage. Then you take this soil, okay? You take this soil, and you are going to add your compost. You're going to add your leaf mold. You are also going to add any lawn clippings, anything organic. You're going to add it to it, and you're also going to add your fertilizer, but you're also going to add this, okay, which I'm going to tell you about. Once you've added this, which is the question mark, you're going to put it all back, okay? You're going to put it back because now you've prepared the soil, and whatever you plant is going to be very happy in this little cocoon thing because there is not going to be competition against the roots. And when you water, it's watering there. But because we've added two things, plus everything that we found in and around the garden, we are going to turn the soil from zero into a super running hero. Okay, so come back with me here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be using. Okay, so Guys, we've spoken about this, and a lot of you, I don't know, you get scared to use things, or I'm not too sure what it is, but just get out your comfort zone. I really need you to, because if you want to have a successful shade garden, you've got to be able to do this. So remember, we had the pile of soil. Okay, so we're adding the leaf mold, we're adding a few bits and pieces. We are also going to add some of this, which is your faithful palm peat. Okay, if you don't know enough about this, please go to the Garden Tube channel, and there's a whole clip of 5 minutes just on palm peat and what you use it for. But we know that it holds moisture and it adds organic content. Okay, so you're going to maybe add a block that's been decomposed into that pile. You're then also going to add some of this, and you know this stuff, guys. This morning we put 3 tablespoons into this vase. 3 tablespoons, and we added some water. And this is a polymer. What is a polymer? Well, a polymer is fine. It's a very, very small particle which has carbon added to it. That's the brown part, okay, the black part. Carbon is so important in bad soils and soils that are lacking in nutrition. So it's got carbon added. Look how fine those particles are. We added 3 tablespoons in here, which shows you really don't need a lot. And that's why it is in small packaging, guys, because you're literally going to use a teaspoon. But I want to show you how far it goes, because what we then did was we added some water to this. And these little granules then just start soaking up all the water. But to show you how far it goes, this is it. I mean, I love this stuff. It's like slime. So there it is. I mean, it has sucked up the water. That dust has turned into this, that I can actually make a little ball. But the way that you do it, you're either going to add it, and there are 2 ways to do it. When you are preparing your soil, you take this and you add it dry to your soil mixture, dry, okay, like that. And then you turn it in, okay? Because then when you add water to it, it swells up and it holds the water, so the water doesn't go to your neighbor. Okay. No, I think I was prepared for that. No, I now do need a lappy. But what I want to show you is this, guys. Look here. I've taken out more than half of that to show you how far it goes. So I'm going to add more water. And this is how we apply it in the garden. This is what we do. We follow the instructions, believe it or not. Okay, I'm going to give this thing a good stir, because I'm telling you, in a couple of seconds, it's going to thicken up again. Look at that. That was 3 tablespoons. So it shows you how far it goes. But what ultimately, the consistency that I want is this. I'm going to add more water to this. I want it to be sloppy. Now, in this case, this is if you are going to be planting into a bed that is existing. So you're adding a new plant. Okay, so we've either added the dry granules, or we have now wet these granules. And when you wet it, look at this lovely sloppy mess. Look at it. You see that? That's what I want. And what you do is you take a few handfuls of this, dig your hole for your plant, flop about 5 of these handfuls in to the hole. Yes, okay, stop playing, Tanya. Focus. A few handfuls at the bottom of the hole, and then you take the plant and you floop it on top. Okay, so it's now sitting in this mixture. When the plant needs moisture, what does it do? Just takes it back. Miracle stuff. Great for hanging baskets. So get out there and use it, guys. I mean, it is literally, we've got a drum. I'm looking at the drum here. We bought it like in bulk, because the little packets don't go very far in this garden. But anyway, so it works. It does the job. It's called Hydrocache. Makes sense? That's what it's called. Have a look. Hydrocache. It's a teeny weeny, like a little cheese sauce that you buy from that shop. It's called Hydrocache gel. Okay. Right, guys. So that's what you can do. And then we're going to get on to feeding just now, and we're going to get on to some problem solving. But first, we're going to whisk through here to show you some plants, because you asked after them. So let's start in this corner over here. Folks, what is going to do well? We spoke about the Plectranthus, okay? Another variety of Plectranthus. If you're wanting some height in your garden bed for shade, gardenias are a winner. I love gardenias. course, we get indigenous gardenias, and we get those that originate from China. This is Belmont, which originates in China. The most beautiful white, fragrant flowers that last forever and ever and ever. Remember, you also get ground cover gardenias. We've spoken about the Bromeliads, okay? So, come on, be brave enough. Get them in the garden. The next thing is this. This was that golden, remember I said, pay attention to that golden grass? This is it here. This is Acorus, golden edge, okay? Acorus. You can see it's more upright. It's not flowy like Tian's profile pic. This is more upright, but so easy. I mean, this has been lying in a crate because we dug it out and I need to plant it back into the garden because I was making space. And you see, you divide it up really easily and you can just plant it. A real winner in shade, deep shade, and it just does the job. Begonias as perennials, there are so many options. This is baby wing, white. And remember, if you're in cold areas, they will start dying back. You're going to prune them quite hard, cover them with leaf mold, grass clippings, cover them with your frost protection, and they will come up again. They will come up again in spring. Okay. Do not negate and do not forget about ferns. Unfortunately, and it's a thing the way gardening goes, ferns are now the greatest indoor plant to have. So you don't actually find ferns in the shaded section at your local garden centre. You find them only in the indoor section. So go to the indoor section. This was actually a hanging bowl. It's called Microsorum fern. And be brave enough to put them in the garden. If you prepped your soil well enough, like we've explained, they'll be fine. They'll be really happy. Okay. Something that is quite odd that a lot of people would never ever consider is succulents. But excuse me, there are quite a few succulents that love the shade. One being the Haworthiopsis, which are the indigenous little Haworthias. They can grow in deep, deep shade, like under rocks, right under the trees, and they just form these little mounding habits. Gasterias, also great for the foreground and a little bit of change in texture. And more Haworthias with their thick, fleshy leaves are beautiful to use on the edges of garden beds right in the shade. Okay, let's move along over here. Come on, maidenhair ferns. I mean, isn't she beautiful? All of our grannies had a maidenhair fern on their stoep, and it was on a metal rack, or it was in one of those beautiful metal containers, like plant stands, and they kept it alive. So what's wrong with us? It's because they would feed it tea bags, and every time they walked outside, they'd give it a sip of water, which is why we need to make sure that we are preparing our soil with the right stuff. The other thing I'm going to talk about is this, which I'm going to get to in a second, so I'm going to leave it there. Guys, just look over here very quickly, and I'm going to briefly go over these. Beautiful Plectranthus. This one's called Sasha. Lovely golden foliage against this awesome Coleus. Look at that red. That is like flaming red. Here is the Plectranthus Mona lavender that we spoke about. Little pilea in the foreground. Coleus wasabi. Next to it, the flame. Beautiful combinations that can be used. Grasses such as Liriope for foreground and variegation and bringing you light. Here is another Carex. This is Evergold with the variegation. Just spectacular. Liriope Evergreen Giant, which is another great filler. Same family as this, okay? Which gets nice and tall, 40 centimeters. And I mean, look at this combination. Come on, guys. That makes my heart beat fast. Absolutely spectacular. And then across onto this side over here, We spoke about the Clivias, guys. Here are different types of begonias as well, which will do equally as well, okay? This is big red, large red leaf with the red flowers. This is baby wings pink, which all do the job. Fantastic for dappled shade. And at the top here, we've got alocaceas. This one's called stingray. Oh man, and you can see why it's called stingray. Sought after indoor plants, but remember, they're not indoor, we just made them indoor. They actually love growing in the shade. Yeah, got it. Okay. Impatiens, which are called New Guinea impatiens, just as long as the label says they can grow in semi-shade is all we want to know. And of course, one of the best fillers is this, which is Philodendron Xanadu. Philodendron Xanadu is awesome in containers and great in mass planting for beds. Excellent, excellent job. It really does for that. Okay, so Mace, hit your way along there. I'm going to just check the queue because we've got a few questions here. Melanie says, how would I use the black slime in the pot with an existing rose in it? Okay, Melanie, the best way I'm going to advise you, and you've got to do this and you've got to feel this pain, feel the pain with me. And I think I've got the black slime that you're talking about, which is called Hydrocache. Do I look like a red Indian? Have I got Hydrocache all over me? Guys, Melanie, if you've got an existing pot, I would honestly recommend that you, and do this during winter. Do this during winter after you've pruned, because it's going to be easier to handle the rose, is get that rose out the pot, okay? Remove half of the lower part of the soil. Okay, you got me, you're with me. Okay, so you're going to put your rose one side. Then that soil you're going to replace with good potting soil that you have added. Okay, you remember, you have added in the dry Hydrocache. You are also then going to add in a good 1 or 2 handfuls, and I would recommend this with any planting, guys. Just as long as your dogs are not prone to going and looking for the bones, you're going to add in 1 or 2 good handfuls of sterilized bone meal. Okay, sterilized bone meal, which means that it is perfectly safe for us, and if the dogs have to go and eat it. Okay. So a good few handfuls of that into your container, and then you're going to put the rose back. Got it? Okay, right. And that would be the best way, the most effective way. Lauren, weeds in the shade. In April, I'm moving to a house where the grass is what? Where the grass has been taken over by, I think it's called glaucoma. Okay, it's a weed, right. Should I worry? Oh, yes. That thing is awful. That thing is, it's an ivy. Okay, hold on. I'm getting you now. Guys, it will take over, because especially, and Lauren, what's going to happen is during the winter, your lawn slows down. The weeds speed up. Okay, so you've got to treat it. And the way that you treat it, there are a couple of ways. First way, 5-liter pup suck. Do you know what that is? That's 5 liters of wine. Good music and a good weeding tool. Sit on your bum, hand weed it. Gonna take a long time. Next way is to use a selective, please note the word selective herbicide. Super Lawn Weeder is the one to use, guys. Folks, we have used many different lawn weeders, and the stuff really does a good job. Follow the instructions. Apply it on a hot, sunny day, and apply it as per the instructions, or else you will kill the lawn as well. All right, next question. Alida, good morning. What do I plant under pine trees? Alida, you can plant dietes. But remember, pine trees are even worse, because your pine trees, and some of you might have turpentine trees from them days, they are awful underneath. They are awful to try and plant. But remember, think about pine trees. They're going to make acid soil. Here, you got it. What loves acid soil? Azaleas. Azaleas. Beautiful azaleas or rhododendrons. Especially if you're wanting something beautiful and big to give you that scale. And remember, you get baby azaleas as well that only get to 80 centimeters in height. They also love growing under the shade. So there you would dig the hole really big, treat the soil, as I've explained, and pop the guys in. Okay, very important. The other thing that does well under there will be your gardenias, because gardenias also love an acid-loving soil as well as camellias. Okay, hope that helps. Right, guys, let's get down to problems. More problems. What else could go wrong? So, yes, you can get hojos, okay? Yes, you can get hojos, chewing, sucking insects, which you would need to treat, okay? And you'll find that if your plants are under stress, it's just like us humans, guys. If your plants are under stress, if we're under stress and somebody sniffs or sneezes 2 kilometers away, that virus of snotty runny nose will find us. It's the same with plants. When your plants are under stress, in other words, they're not getting enough water, they're not getting enough nutrition, they become susceptible, okay? And then what's going to get there? Aphids, chewing things, all those yucky diseases. Okay, so we've got to feed and we've got to treat. One way to feed, remember, we spoke about, you're going to add some bone meal to the soil as a top-up feeding, and especially when you are gardening in that sea sand or in just heavy clay soil, soil that is not soft, friable, beautiful, loamy soil. You know, the soil that we have beautiful dreams about. No. If we have got the really rubbish soil, you want to use organic plant foods, okay, in feeding. So you want to use pelletized organic plant foods like this, like your 315, okay? Guys, use that. Use any other pelletized food, and then you want to as well is top them up and improve the soil. And we do this by using something like bioswale. Now, I want to tell you very, very, very quickly about bioswale. So I'm constantly talking about humates and fulvic acid, and maybe you don't know what those are, but humates is basically when vegetative matter starts breaking down. The way you know it, if you've ever dug in the garden and you've seen like a yellow stuff in the soil, that's actually humates. That's humates, because that is what is produced when vegetative matter starts breaking down. Okay. Humates also give you humic, which is the humic and fulvic acid, okay, which is all concentrated inside this bottle. So, what is fulvic acid? Basically, fulvic acid is also one of the byproducts of when vegetative matter starts breaking down. And what it does is fulvic acid feeds the good hojos. It feeds the good microbes in the soil. Okay, so your biosoil, which is this, has got humic and fulvic acids in. It's 50 mils into 10 liters of water, guys. It can be applied to your indoor plants, to your vegetables, to your pots, to your shade garden. It can be applied anywhere. 50 mils, 10 liters of water. What is it going to do? Number one, it's a source of high carbon rich. It's very, very carbon rich. We spoke about carbon when we were talking about the hydrocache, which is so important for our soils as a builder, okay? As we're doing this, and we're adding the humic and the fulvic, we are improving the soil structure. When we improve the soil structure, a whole lot of things are going to happen. We're going to use less water. The plant's roots are going to be happier. They're going to be able to absorb the nutrition easier. Plus, the soil, the water, when we do water, it's actually going to stay there because we've improved the soil. Okay, so that's what happens when you're feeding with something like humic and fulvic acid. Highly concentrated, and it does the job. Now, what if we've got hojos? Well, yeah, we're going to have hojos, guys. So, especially if your area is wet shade. If you've got wet shade, which we do have, wet shade, you might get fungal diseases. How do we know what fungal diseases are? Guys, those are normally, you'll find black spots on the leaves, or the stem starts getting quite mushy, okay? And that's not an insect. It can be an insect, but if it just gets these, like, the caterpillar makes the mushiness all the way down, okay? Whereas if it's a fungal, it's literally just going to cause some spots along the stems. Use something like Fungi Free, which will do the job, okay? You can also use it in your lawns, and it will cope and it will deal with any fungal diseases. In terms of eating, chewing, hojos, plant care is an alternative, is something that you can use. Guys, it's very easy. It's basically, plant care is koino. Now, a lot of you use koino for your roses. You use it as a drench. This is koino in a liquid form, okay? It deals with sucking insects. So aphids, whitefly, red spider, all those yuckies, all right? And it's 10 mils into 10 liters of water, and you spray it on. It can also be used on edibles and your ornamentals. Just remember there is a waiting period, which is very important that you do follow. But nice and simple, easy, and that is in fact those are the main problem areas that you're going to find. But like I said earlier, oh, and remember, plant care is can also be applied, I forgot about that. Plant care can also get applied as a systemic drench. Okay, what does that mean? Systemic drench. Basically, it means you can put it into a watering can, like this, apply it into a watering can, mix it up, and apply it around the plant. It then gets taken up by the plant roots through, and when that awful lily borer or the aphid comes along and goes, ta-da, he's no longer. Guys, if you are applying this into your garden and there are flowers, avoid the flowers, okay, because it will harm the bees. So spray the foliage, okay, not the flowers. Very, very important. Right, folks, let's start rounding up. Remember, there are many alternatives. We have touched on but a few plants here that you can be using. That Plectranthus, I was so silly, I didn't even realize that I actually had a beautiful one here as a hanging basket. The Plectranthus that we were using, that we showed in some of the slides, is Plectranthus ciliatus. Look, there's the beautiful mauve underside. Tough as nails, guys, water-wise. It can grow where it's boggy, it can grow where it's dry, it can grow in the sun, it can grow in the shade. I mean, really, it's like the perfect plant. Really quite incredible. That was ciliatus that I showed you a bit earlier, and this is the creeping one, as opposed to Mona Lavender, which, remember, I said is the shrubby bush. But remember, this one doesn't get that big, only gets 40 centimeters. So choose whichever one works best for you, but I really recommend that you have both, that you really have both. Guys, last but not least, let us introduce you to the most beautiful gardening magazine, which is the only dedicated gardening magazine in South Africa. The Gardener. What must I do? Move the plants. Oh, they're shouting at me again. Do you know, they shout so many instructions at me. I tell you, it's getting whipped. Whoa. Move the plants, they say, is our beautiful March issue of The Gardener and Detainee. Guys, if you want to find out what you can use, what plants to grow in the shade, funny enough, there's a beautiful 5 to 6 page article just on shade gardening. We've also showing our last part of the set of articles on these amazing Venus flytraps. Once you have learnt about them, you might be a bit scared of them, but they're smaller than you, so it's fine. We also deal with gorgeous agaves in here and open your world up to these most amazing, symmetrical, gorgeous plants that are so incredibly tough. There's also a great subscription drive and a good prize that you can win, so please make sure to get your hands on The Gardener or Detainee. Our Grow to Eat magazine is also out, which is our winter edition, guys. You're going to find it from Monday, next week. Monday, you are going to find it on your shelves. We talk about kale, all the different, most beautiful kale, how to use them. And remember, this magazine is going to be your veggie guide from now, which is March, April, May, June, and July. In here, we cover all those months, your what to do for all those months, what you should be planting, harvesting, prepping, and your basic guide. So many people say, what should I plant now? What should be ready? What can I plant where it's very cold? How do I deal with an overrun of peppers? It's here, guys. It's all here. It's your seasonal gardening guide to what you can grow to eat. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you. Our grateful thanks to Starke, Ayres and Makhro Home and Garden. It's been a blast, and funny enough, if those of you have been following me on Facebook, you might have seen that I bought some rocks about 10 days ago, and then you might have seen that we started digging and removing because I wanted more garden, and funny enough, where am I gardening? In the shade under a tree. So stick with me, and hopefully I'm working on Saturday. Saturday, I am at Lifestyle Garden Centre. Guys, if you haven't booked your spot yet, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, I believe it is, I'm at Lifestyle doing a talk. It's for free. Come along, phone Lifestyle, ask for Pam, harass her, and book your seat. There's amazing goodie bags that we're giving away. And of course, Lifestyle is just insane. And I am traveling up on the aeroplane on Saturday morning to Joburg. Oh, Lifestyle is in Joburg, just by the way. But you can travel from Pretoria. It's not that far. And you can come to our gardening talk. And I am traveling up with a hand luggage suitcase, which will be empty, because coming back, I know what plants I need to get that I want to use to fill up in my shade garden, which I am then doing on Sunday. Also, please make note that on the 25th and 26th of this month, which is the mad month of March, and we're only on the 2nd and it's been mad, guys, that we are having open gardens. It's the Kloof Conservancy Open Gardens. Please check out my Facebook page, check out their Facebook pages. There are going to be 4 or 5 gardens open. Ours is one of them, with a pop-up shop, gorgeous burry rolls, meander around the garden and listen to some good music. What more could you want? Folks, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. I really have had fun. I hope that you've learned a bit and been able to problem solve the way ahead. And most importantly, look after you and yours, and take care. Till next time, happy gardening.
The Gardener Masterclass was proudly brought to you by Starke, Ayres, the foremost African commercial and home gardening specialist of globally sold premium seed and innovative gardening solutions, growing together for a sustainable future. And Makhro Home and Garden. Visit makhro.co.za to find out more about our range to solve most common gardening problems. makhro.co.za.
If gardening is your passion, digging in the soil is your pleasure, and growing your own food is your mission, we've got a lot in common. Get access to the greatest gardening minds, including yours truly, with The Gardener magazine, filled with the latest gardening trends, inspirational ideas and tips. Available from leading retailers or online at thegardener.co.za. From cover to cover, it's gardening at its best.